Hey guys, OJ Albini here, bringing you guys my APA Academy Season 2 quarterfinals game against Jacob, as always, and his Green Bay Pikachus. Now, I know there is no team builder. I apologize. This week's been very busy for me, as well as like kind of the lead up to Sword and Shield. I just didn't really have time to, find a time to record the team builder. I was kind of just preoccupied with other things. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a little burnt out on Gen 7 draft. I'm not burnt out like I don't want to play Mullins. Burnt out, I don't want to play Gen 7 anymore. I'm so excited for Gen 8. I kind of just want to jump right into that. So I wasn't super motivated this week when it comes to making draft content. And I apologize that I will definitely change literally starting next week again. And we'll have plenty of team builders going into Gen 8 and all that stuff. But regardless, we are here with our round 2 game, quarterfinals though, because there are so many people that make playoffs in Academy, up against Jacob. He had a first round bye because I believe he was like a first seed on his team. I think he lost maybe once during the regular. Yeah, he lost once during the regular season. He was 11-1, had a phenomenal season. He is a really good draft league player. One of the people I definitely look up to in the community. Skill and stuff like that wise. So definitely go check him out if you for some reason know me and don't know him. I would be very surprised if so, but if you do not go check him out, obviously. I'm sure he'll be uploading all his sites and stuff like that when the time comes. Phenomenal player, like I said. But with that being said, we should jump into matchup really quick and a quick little overview of the team, just so you guys have some background knowledge going into the matchup and stuff like that. But yeah, if you did forget, our team consists of the Deoxys Attack, Naganadel, Jirachi, Mandibuzz, Lanoon, Infernape, Piloswine, Primarina, Frostlass, Tyrantrum, Mega Manectric, and Vileplume, with our Z users being, I believe it is, oh my gosh, it's been a minute. It's Infernape, Frostlass, and Tyrantrum. All our opponents' team consists of Xerneas, Megalade, Tapu Lele, Hippowdon, Nihilego, Umbreon, Salamence, Blastoise, Metagross, Smeargle, Stoutland, and Quilladin. I forget exactly what his Z users are, but it doesn't really matter right now. Right off the bat, really terrifying team. We do have a phenomenal fairy, especially offensive fairy type check in Jirachi, but the combination of Xerneas plus Lele really puts so much pressure on Jirachi to be able to check both of those. It's almost impossible to be able to do so and fit all the moves I want. So despite having a good check to both of them, it's not the best check in the world, if I'm being completely honest, just because of how overwhelmed it does get. Zern plus Lele Moonblast aren't going to be, fun, and it loses me a lot of momentum if I'm wishing protecting every single turn. So it's going to be something we have to keep in, account and all that stuff. Mega Gallade are the biggest threat to my team. I don't have a switch into Mega Gallade. I don't have a real fighting resist. My fighting resist is Mandibuzz, which is pretty terrifying. A +2 Gallade can really just train on me and just run through me. If he has Thunder Punch or Poison Jab or something like that, probably Thunder Punch, because I would hit Mandibuzz and Primarina super effectively, I believe. And Primarina is, another decent check to it, I suppose. If he's not boosted, we can always take a hit from it with our set, but I'll get into that in a minute. And yeah, he has stuff like Salamence, which can be really scary. Hippowdon is incredibly annoying for us, and Smeargle. Now, as you can see on the screen, obviously Smeargle didn't come. However, it influenced a lot of my prep. If you look at the team I built, and eventually when I get into it, if webs were up on the field and they did not get off the field, I lost the game. I just lost the game, which forced me to bring Defog on Mandibuzz, which also forced me to not have U-turn on the set, which was really unfortunate, and really made me suffer and lose a lot of momentum in this game. So we'll see that come into account later. But honestly, if webs got up versus me, it was looking real bad. So Overcoat Mandibuzz was obviously a great check to that, not being able to get spored and put to sleep, and being able to defog those webs and, spikes, rocks, whatever he wants away. So we actually, won't get hazard stack this game at the very least, which is, obviously super nice. But with that being said, let's jump into the 6 we are bringing. We are bringing a Substitute Encore Scald Moonblast Primarina with leftovers. Very cool set. We're creeping like a no-speed Metagross. Are we keeping no speed Metagross? It might be something like that, and no speed Metagross and some. I completely forget. I'll leave a Pokepaste in my team description below. But we have enough defense on the set to be able to live a Gallade Zen Headbutt in Psychic Terrain after Rocks, which is obviously really nice. And then we have the rest in special attack, which allows us to go modest 56. And despite us being pretty bulky, that modest nature and a little bit of special attack investment, his team really does not appreciate Primarina. It actually puts in a ton of work versus him. Sub Encore is great for stuff like the Umbreon, which is obviously here to protect my Deoxys attack. So if I can get up a free sub on that thing, we are looking phenomenal. Or if I can force some switches on a Hippowdon that he wants to keep healthy, I can totally get up a sub and then start throwing off dual stabs, and he does not appreciate it. at all. Moonblast and Scald to it KOs pretty much everything on his team. So that's obviously something to keep in account. Next up, we have our Deoxys, which is going to be a Life Orb set for attacks. We have Extreme Speed. I know there is Psychic Terrain, but if Psychic Terrain is gone, Extreme Speed could be incredibly important versus like a boosted Gallade that has Shadow Sneak versus us. We have Psychic, Superpower, and Shadow Ball. Shadow Balls to hit stuff like Lele super effectively, stuff like Metagross super effectively. The Psychic Terrain sucks for us and also helps us out at the same time. It's a weird dichotomy. We'll see how it exactly goes, though. Next up, we have Mandibuzz, which, like I said, is going to be our Defogger. We have Foul Play, Roost, Defog, and Toxic. We're bulky enough, I believe, to take like a +2 Glade hit. Then we have the rest in Spadef and a little bit of speed for speed creeps. We have a Nasty Plot, Dragon Fang, Naganadel with Draco Meteor, Sludge Wave, and Fire Blast, as well as Nasty Plot, obviously. This is a really good win con if we can find an opportunity to set up, and we have the Umbreon Weekend. We can honestly just go in with this Mon. +2 Draco with Dragon Fang, always Oko's Hippowdon, which is obviously really nice as well. Fire Blast for the Metagross. Sludge Wave hits pretty much everything else pretty hard. So that's obviously really good. Next up, we have a mixed Life Orb, and Fernape is going to be our wall breaker this week. He does not appreciate Life Orb and Fernape at all. We have Fire Blast, King Power, Ice Close Combat, and Gunk Shot. We originally had Grass on the set, but I took it off for Gunk last minute because Fire Blast into CC can Oko Hippowdon with some chips. So not the biggest deal in the world if we don't have the Grass on to hit that super, super hard. And I could definitely see Rindo coming in this game as well. So that's something we have to keep into mind. And then lastly, we have our Jirachi, which is a very generic Wish, Protect, U-Turn, Iron Head set with the Kasib Berry. We're running enough speed, I believe, to creep a Lele, creeping our Tyrantrum, because our speed tier is a little whack, so he can definitely go Modest Lele, which makes this thing even harder to, go after. As well as Xerneas creeping the Tyrantrum too. And that kind of goes without said, but I probably should have said that anyways. But yeah, that's going to be 6 we're bringing. You see the 6 he brought: Lele, Zern, Umbreon, Gallade, Hippowdon, and Metagross. And yeah, with that being said, let's jump right into the game. I am going to lead off with my Primarina. And matches up really well versus a lot of his team. If he wants to lead off with Hippowdon, get up rocks. If he wants to lead off with Umbreon to stop me from, just clicking a button with Deoxys. Metagross, we can Scald potentially is probably one of my better checks to Metagross, but we can also just pivot into Mandibuzz. And yeah, we'll go from there. And if he leads with a fairy, I have my Jirachi, which he does, unfortunately, leave with one of his fairies, which is going to be the Tapu Lele. It's going to set up the Psychic Terrain. And this is unfortunate because I don't want to stand on this thing. I don't want to take a bunch of damage for no reason, as we are going to pull the switch out into our very obvious Jirachi. I know it's a very obvious play, but it's early in the game. I don't know if Jacob's necessarily going to, just hard read me super early on, as he does end up just going for a Psychic. Completely fair. Does next to nothing. Even with the crit, we just absolutely chew that up. Means we don't really even, we aren't even really forced to Wish this turn, which is great because we can grab some momentum with a U-turn. He does the pull switch out into his Hippowdon. Very, very fair. I kind of wish I was special this week. I elected to go physical with Iron Head over like Flash Cannon or something like that, just because if he was a Calm Mind Zern, he could totally set up on me, and that'd be terrifying. So I figured physical was kind of needed, unfortunately, as he is going to reveal the Rocky Helmet, which is going to play a big factor in this game. It's going to force me to play a little bit more aggressively, because as I said earlier, let me pause while I talk about this. As I said earlier, health on Jirachi is really important, and I lose a lot of momentum by sitting going for Wish and Protect. So I want to keep it as healthy as possible to where I can, pivot in the fairies without actually having to wish up and stuff like that, or just being able to wish pass into something else on my team. So I figured, him being Rocky Helmet honestly makes it to where I'm gonna have to play a little bit more aggressively, maybe double out so I don't take that U-turn chip from the Hippowdon, or maybe throw wishes on those turns instead, and then switch out and get the wish up on the Hippowdon, like into my Primarina or into my Mandibuzz or something like that. So yeah, I am going to get the momentum this turn, though, go out into my Primarina, which is great. I don't expect him to want to stay in this early in the game. I haven't revealed sub or anything. I haven't revealed anything on my set yet. So that's what we're going to do. Is we're going to go for a substitute, as he does pull the switch into his Xerneas. We just go straight for a Scald. Sorry, I'm spoiling for later in the game. And that's going to do a decent chunk, to be completely honest. Unfortunately, we do not get the burn, but that's completely fine. He just take a little bit of chip with Sandstorm. Shows to not be leftovers, so he could be an offensive item like Specs, he could be Scarf, he could be Life Orb, we don't know. But he actually reveals the Light Screen, and no item plus a screen actually makes me kind of think that he might just be a, a dual screen set, a Light Clay set, which is really, really scary, because if he gets the setup with Gallade under a Reflect, things are looking pretty terrifying. I don't know exactly what I do about that thing at, if he gets up to +2 and he's under screens. But right here, he is going to switch out on my Primarina as I go for yet another I go for an Encore, trying to lock him into a Reflect, potentially, so I can get up a free sub. Unfortunately, he does pull the switch out into Metagross. That's completely fair, being that he got the special attack drop, all that stuff, and he has a light screen up against me, so he doesn't really have to worry about too much damage coming to his Metagross. But right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out. I don't really see a reason not to. I can go right onto my Mandibuzz. Rocks aren't up yet. This thing doesn't really pressure me at all. Even Banded Thunder Punch doesn't 2-hit KO my set, I believe. So we should be completely fine versus that thing, and we're not going to take Sand Chip as well. Right here, he's going to make a phenomenal double out into his Xerneas, knowing that this was definitely my play to go into this thing, which is, again, not fun, as I am going to be forced out. I do need my Mandibuzz healthy, or Gallade is looking like a problem in the back. And I have to go right out into my Jirachi, as I believe he goes for a Reflect. Cool. So yeah, now he has both screens up, which is definitely not fun. Definitely not fun at all, as he has dual screens up, and nothing on my team is going to be doing a lot of damage to anything he really has. As he is going to pull a switch out here, definitely makes sense. He's going to go out into the Hippowdon, as I believe, do I go raw for a Wish? I think I go for a Wish this turn. Sorry, this game has a lot of doubles and a lot of, yeah. So I go for a Wish here. I could have potentially doubled a U-turn or something like that, but I figured this is nice to waste some turns of his screens and stuff like that. As I am going to pull a switch out into my Primarina, knowing if he goes for an Earthquake, I can eat it up, get all of my health back with a Wish. As he doesn't make the smart play, though, he goes for a Stealth Rock, which is definitely fair because it covered the Protect, it covered me pivoting out, and I wasn't doing anything to him otherwise. So I figured that's a pretty fair play on his end. As right here, the Wish is going to come true. I'm going to get literally like 12 HP back. As right here, he is going to pull the switch out once again into his, into his Tapu Lele, which is completely fine. Unfortunately, I believe the light screen is still up, so we're not going to be doing as much damage to this thing. As we do go for a Substitute, though, this is going to allow us to slowly start kind of getting rid of these turns and stuff like that, because we wasted a turn right here going for the sub. We could waste another turn right here while he breaks our sub, and we go for a Moonblast, which is obviously really, really nice, and we're slowly getting rid of these screen turns, and hopefully we can make it to where the Xerneas cannot set them up again later on in the match. Z is going to go for the Psychic, outspeed us, obviously break our Substitute, as I believe I just go straight for a Moonblast. And under Light Screen, this does like 2. This does absolutely nothing, which is unfortunate. He's pretty bulky in his Lele from, based on that damage. I don't know if he's necessarily like, a super Fat Claw mindset or what exactly he's running, but the Light Screen is going to wear off right here. If only he wasn't Light Clay, it would have wore off a couple turns earlier, and we would have gotten a big Moonblast, being able to do a lot of damage to this thing. As right here, I am going to pull switch out into my Mandibuzz, as he does go for the Psychic, kind of calling his bluff, seeing it if he is Scarf. I didn't expect him to go for a Moonblast right there. Psychic was the only thing that really took me out, as I am going to get a little bit of leftovers back right here, as he is going to switch out, and this really does tip me off. He is 100% Choice Scarfed Mandibuzz, as he is going to pull switch out into his Umbreon, as I am going to double out myself, go out into my Jirachi, because it covered him going for the Moonblast the turn after, and it also covered him doubling out into something else on his team, which is, again, completely fine. I'm going to go for U-turn. I don't expect him to go into the Hippowdon this time. With the Reflect Up, that U-turn does literally nothing, which is unfortunate, but it does get us a little bit of momentum, as we can go out into our Infernape and potentially put on a lot of pressure on this thing, as he is going to go for a Wish, which is completely fine. He's going to be able to Wish Pass into something else on his team. Probably the Hippowdon, potentially the Gallade as well. Gallade can definitely get a hit from this thing, any one hit. As the Reflect does wear off this turn, which is great, because now he's definitely not going to want to take a CC from me. I am Life Orb. He doesn't know if I'm banned or anything like that, though. As I am going to pull the double out, though, on this turn, expecting either a Protect or a pivot out into the Hippowdon, as they do double out into the Primarina, as we do catch him going into the Hippowdon, which is great, because now we have our Primarina in for free once again. Unfortunately, the sand keeps going in, that's nullifying our lefties recovery, which is really, really annoying, because we'd pretty much be back up to full at this point, I believe, with our lefties, and stuff like that after the sub, and, if sand wasn't up. Unfortunate, but it's all good, because you can throw off a free Scald right here. Pretty much no drawback at this point. He does not have a switch into this thing very much, at all, as he's going to pull switch out into the Lele. I kind of wish I went for the Moonblast, but, it was definitely probably my better play going for the Scald, just because I covered him going Metagross for some reason, too. If I get snag a burn on that, it's definitely not as scary. I can pivot out into my Mandibuzz. Unfortunately, we do not get the burn. Burn plus Sand would have been great. We would have been really able to chip this thing down, I believe, after the next turn. I don't know if my mental math is right, if it would have died after the next turn. But regardless, that would have been nice. Oh, well. Nothing you can do about it. I'm going to switch out my Primarina, as it still does come in on stuff like Hippowdon. I can still potentially Wish it up. I can come in on Umbreon and still get a free sub. It still has plenty of use, as it does go for the Moonblast. Able to do a decent chunk to my Jirachi, in all honesty, right here, as it is going to do a decent amount of damage. He's going to get buffeted by the Sandstorm. get down, brought it down into the red at this point, actually, which is phenomenal for us, as he is going to pivot out into the Umbreon, which is completely fair. I'm going to go for a Wish. I need to get this thing back up healthy. As annoying as it is and as much momentum as it loses me, I need to get my Jirachi, healthier at this point, just to, keep it out of range of not being too KO'd after rocks by stuff like Xerneas and Lele, which is, really, really important, obviously, as he is going to double out this turn, go out into the Xerneas, which is completely fair. However, this turn, I believe I just went for a Protect. I hadn't revealed Protect yet, so he didn't know I had it, but this is going to allow me to get all the way back up to full, which is amazing, because he tried to catch me going into, I'm wondering what he probably tried to catch me going into Infernape, maybe? No, because I'd be faster than him, and I'd probably knock him out with coverage. But regardless, he's going to pull the switch out into that Powdon here. We're back up to full, which is phenomenal. We're going to be able to get some momentum right here, as I believe I go for the Iron Head. Unfortunately, I don't. Well, man, I probably should have, because we're going to take some Rocky Helmet chip there. He does not sack the Xerneas, which is definitely fair on his end. Sand is back up, which is annoying, but not the biggest deal in the world. I'm going to pull the switch out right here into my Mandibuzz, which is going to take some Rocks chip. I want to try and get up a Defog. I want to try and get a Toxic off on this thing, but he is going to make a good play, go for the Whirlwind, knowing I'm probably not staying in with Jirachi. I'm going to get sent right back out into Jirachi, which is unfortunate, but this turn, this is a big turning point in the battle. As you can see, this game is very, very back and forth up to this point. We are still 6-6, and we are, I don't know how many turns in. Probably like 15, 20 turns in. And right here, I kind of wanted to make a play. I expect him to want to Whirlwind again, because if I get in my Mandibuzz for free and defog the Rocks away, get up a Roost, things are looking pretty annoying for him. I do want to get these Rocks away very, very much so, because I am looking really Gallade weak at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a Wish, expecting the Whirlwind. I'm going to try and get Whirlwind into something, and then I'm going to Wish Pass into potentially my Mandibuzz, potentially my Primarina, something like that. And I'm going to stay and go for the Wish this turn, as I believe... Yeah, so we do go for the Wish. As you're going to see, I hope he goes for the Whirlwind. Unfortunately, he's going to call my bluff. He's going to go Raw for the Earthquake here, and that's definitely fair. I got a little too overzealous there. Fortunately, Jirachi is not going to live this Earthquake, despite this being a defensive Hippo. It is still basic, pretty strong, even uninvested. As down goes Jirachi, this makes it very hard for me to switch into those Fairy types, which he very smartly saved, despite them being very, very low on HP. But I'm going to get a free switch into my Primarina. Trying to take advantage of that Wish while I can. I'm going to go for a Scald. Do not get the burn, unfortunately, as he goes for the Whirlwind. And he's going to make it to where we do not get that Wish no matter what. Which is really, really unfortunate. We're able to get off a big hit. That's definitely fair on his end, though. He knows that I can't Wish Pass into it anymore if I, if he lets me stay in or if he switches out on my Scald. So definitely a good play on his end. We are going to get up pretty healthy with our Mandibuzz right here. Unfortunately, we're going to get sent in to it, and we're not going to be able to knock out this Hippowdon with anything. I don't believe Foul Play knocked it out from this range, so what I'm going to like to do is go for a Defog, which is going to allow him to slack off, which allows this thing to get back up really, really healthy. And you're going to see this thing is an absolute nuisance for me to deal with. Unless it's Primarina, I don't have anything on my team that really OHKOs this thing. I think Deoxys and Psychic Terrain can potentially knock it out with a Modest Psychic. Well, not Modest, Special Attack Boosting Psychic. So right here, I'm going to go for the Toxic on the Hippo. If he wants to go for Rock Skin, cool. Defog him away, and at this point, if he does this, I will beat him 1v1? Question mark? No, I won't. He would get up Rocks before he went down, but we would be able to knock this, get this thing into where we beat it 1v1, which is obviously really, really good. And if we can knock this thing out, then, I will 100% take that trade, because this thing is obnoxious for me to deal with, as he's going to take a little bit of Poison Chip. The Sand does end, as he is going to switch out right here on my very, very obvious Defog turn. I probably should have double Toxic just to catch this thing. Would have been a really, really solid play on my end. Unfortunately, we are not going to be able to, as I do go for the Defog, just so I can check that Gallade in the back better so later in the game. I can also check the Metagross a little bit better if he's banded for some reason. We can still take 2 hits from that at this point, because we are right back up at full, essentially. Yeah, right back up at full. For some reason, I thought I said 211 out of 217. I just can't read, apparently. But yeah, we're going to pull a switch out into our Naganadel, unless he is Specs or Life Orb or whatever, which I know he's not. If he's not boosting on him, we can always take a Moonblast from this if he's not super offensive. We do take the hit, which is phenomenal. Unfortunately, he's going to switch out. I kind of wanted to go for a Draco here just to try and catch this Draco or a Fire Blast or something like that. I'm going to go for the Sludge Wave. He's going to go into the Metagross. And right here, I'm going to stay in. I'm going to go for a Fire Blast. I expect him to potentially not have the Bullet Punch. I probably should have scouted for it. Being that he had Psychic Terrain, I thought maybe he would go against it. But I do have a Deoxys attack on my team, and I'm bringing priority versus Psychic Terrain, so definitely not too much of a far-fetched idea for him to bring it versus me. So he is going to actually stay and go for the Bullet Punch, which is unfortunate because he's going to be able to pick this off. I was trying to get some damage off with Fire Blast because I don't really have much to break this thing either. This thing is actually pretty scary. I could have went into Mandibuzz, but again, that's allowing the fairies in for free. At least Xerneas can definitely still pivot in on me pretty well. I don't think it's knocked out by Foul Play, which is very, very unfortunate. Right here, he's going to... I'm going to double out on the Metagross out into my Infernape, trying to catch the Xerneas, not allowing it in to get up another screen, as he is going to pull the switch out, I believe, into the Xerneas, which is really good on our end, not allowing that thing to set up or anything like that. We're going to be able to throw off a big Fire Blast here, and essentially pick up a KO. He does not switch into this thing at all. He is going to switch out the Xerneas again. Very, very much so fair. If it comes in on Mandibuzz, it claims a kill at this point. He's going to go into the Hippowdon, which is great because I hate this thing. I do not deal with this very well. Provided we hit our Fire Blast, which we do, you're going to see that plus Poison is 150% going to put it in range of like a safe HP Ice. As we are going to take Life Orb plus Sand, though, which is really going to start wearing us down. He's going to be down on the red. This turn, I believe, I just go straight for a Hidden Power. We're going to be able to knock out the Hippowdon. Oh, I forgot to take the Gandalf layout. Oops. But yeah, down goes Hippo, which is phenomenal because, again, the thing was absolutely obnoxious for us. But we're going to be brought down to essentially half due to the Life Orb plus Sandstorm, which is definitely not a good time. He's going to go on to the Lele. At this point, I know this thing is most likely Scarfing that he switched out on my Mandibuzz earlier in the game. We're going to get the Psychic Terrain up, and unfortunately, I'm going to kind of just have to pick a sack at this point, as I am going to go into my Primarina. Without the Hippo there's not much I take advantage of besides, the Umbreon, and I still have Infernape to break through that thing and try and take advantage of that. He's going to go for a Moonblast. Going to be able to not knock us out. He's going to take Sand Chip right here. I am also going to take Sand Chip, and we're going to drop to there. Unfortunately, if we were just like a little bit of HP higher, we could force him to take another turn to Sandstorm, which would have been really nice, but not the biggest deal in the world. As he is, I am going to go into my Mandibuzz right here. Again, I kind of just have to sack to this thing. We can take one Moonblast from it, though, which is obviously really, really nice. And I was going to just try and, pick it off with a Foul Play. He goes into the Umbreon right here. He takes nothing from said Foul Play. However, that's fine. He's going to take a little bit of Sand Chip, reveal to the leftovers. I don't think we actually have gotten any damage off on this thing yet. So that's good information to know. He's not Choppleberry, so potentially Deoxys can do well. If we can get rid of that Lele, Deoxys can potentially win if we chip down the Gallade. It doesn't have Shadow Sneak. We honestly just kind of win with it. Provided Psychic Terrain's up, Metagross can't revenge us, and we can potentially knock it out with a Shadow Ball, depending on what his spread is, with a little bit of chip. But right here, we're going to double out into our Infernape, expecting a Wish. A very fair play. I didn't want to Toxic it, because then my, then my Mandibuzz would have been switched. Now right here, I'm very, very far in the back foot at this point. Incredibly, incredibly far. I need to make a play to try and get back into this game. So right here, he's going to go for a Wish. In my head, I'm thinking this Wish allows him a free switch into Gallade. And I do not want to allow Gallade in for free, because I go for a Close Combat, it eats. I go for a Fire Blast, it eats. I go for literally anything, and Gallade eats the hit. So I figured he potentially want to pass into that and not let me, get a bunch of damage off with this and go into my Deoxys and click Superpower afterwards. However, you're going to see as I double into my Deoxys, because it would have knocked it out in Psychic Terrain with Psychic. We are Modest, we are Life Orb. He 100% dropped unless he was like max Spadef, Gallade. He is going to stay in, and he is going to go for a Foul Play. I believe he did this because Foul Play potentially did knock me out after my defense drop and stuff like that. Unfortunately, it's just going to completely drop my Deoxys, and this game is unfortunately pretty much essentially over at this point. I needed Deoxys plus Infernape to really break through his team. Mandibuzz plus Infernape is not going to be enough. I forgot to take off Primarina too, oops. But yeah, we're going to go into Infernape. He actually does eat the hit, so he is very, very Fizz Def. We're going to be able to have our defenses drop, which is unfortunate. Go down a little bit because of our Life Orb. He's going to go for a Foul Play, and we are going to eat the hit, which is nice because we're going to be able to get off one more big hit with our Infernape right here, essentially lowering the score a little bit, which is obviously really nice, but at this point, I believe we kind of just lose to Xerneas. There's not much we can do, because down goes our Infernape this turn, and I can't allow this thing to wish up with my Mandibuzz. I can't really beat it 1v1 unless I Toxic it, and then at that point, I lose to Gallade. So, unfortunately, we're kind of put in a checkmate position right here. Down goes the Umbreon, but also down goes our Infernape, just because of the Life Orb plus Sand Chip that we're taking. And out comes our Mandibuzz, which is pretty much going to just, allow him to go right out into his Xerneas, and he's going to be able to just go for a Moonblast and pretty much wrap up this game. GG's to Jacob. Unfortunately, we did lose 4-0. However, I think the game was a little bit closer than let on. I think if we had just a few more things go our way, we definitely could have won this game. Lele was essentially dead. The Xerneas was essentially dead. He did an amazing job in preserving those two versus me, realizing how valuable they were even at such low health. Definitely really smart on his end. The Glade was a big threat. It was, at full, but I talked to him after. It was a set that our Mandibus could always beat 1v1, which is obviously really nice. And Metagross could. So if we just got rid of, like, one of the fairies, we potentially could have been okay. Honestly, if we could have gotten rid of both the fairies. I mean, but at that point, I'm saying, like, if I knocked out his Pokemon, then I won. And that's insanely obvious. So I can't really say that. Jacob outplayed me. He played phenomenally this game. It was a lot of fun, though. It was a really competitive game. I haven't doubled that much in a game in a while. It was a blast. It was really, really high stress playing the game. I had an absolute ton of fun in my last standard Gen 7 Draft League game. We still do have Little Cup, which is going to be going up sometime before Sword and Shield drops, obviously. I don't want to upload Gen 7 Wi-Fi content, really, if I don't have to. When Gen 8 drops. So that will go up soon, but unfortunately this is the end of our Academy run. Good luck to Jacob going forward. I'm sure he'll have a great playoffs run. I would not be surprised at all if he ended up taking home the championship. Phenomenal player. Again, go check him out if you haven't done so already. But with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Later, guys.